Doesn't look like they want to stick with the split push or play against it because they were defeated multiple times by that strategy. Maybe that's why they wanted to pick it up themselves in the first place, but we may be in store for a bit more standard game from them.
And I think they first picked Tahm Kench here in a lot of cases. You look at JayJ's champion pool, he has had 3 games total that were not Tahm Kench and Braum. Braum's been banned, Tahm Kench picked up, he can go to Shen with only 2 plays, maybe he goes to Alistar but has not played a whole lot of it. Like, there's only so much that he feels like he's very comfortable on. We actually even saw in the previous game, FlyQuest, JayJ did not look as good on the Alistar from what I recalled, so they might have actually done a pretty good job pinching here on the blue side, TSM.
Yeah, both supports super highly valued this champion, so definitely a no-brainer first pick right there for TSM. Once again, getting the Tahm Kench. Meanwhile, Flame locking in the blind pick Gangplank this time around. Let's see what it pairs it with. Nice Kindred.
Yeah, Kindred's been very, very strong. So they've already picked up a lot of damage, and it means, of course, they must play tanks elsewhere. There's a chance they play the Galio for Keane. He's already done it 3 times so far this split. A pretty high presence champ for him. We know JayJ is going to go to like an Alistar or a Shen or something later on. He's pretty much a tank-only player. And I'll wait to see though what TSM wants to get alongside that. Gragas is the very frequent answer to Kindred. But no, goes for the higher priority overall champion in the Trundle.
And Trundle has been super successful. Very good early Scuttle Crab control. We'll see if he can make that happen. Versus the Kindred, it's so important. Gangplank and Kindred both scale really well. As far as the damage output possible from the FlyQuest lineup that they can see is already facing them. And again, another Ryze here for TSM.
Yeah.
They have Tahm Kench, they have Ryze, so they still do have a lot of these mobility options for themselves. It's funny that Ryze and TSM have a pretty bad history together, though. We'll see if Bjergsen can pull it out when they need it. Move up the playoff standings here.
And Bjergsen's been interesting in that he's actually played a lot of different champions. 12 unique mid laners this split, which is higher than almost everyone else in the role. A lot of one-ofs, obviously, because you're only playing 18 now, 19 now, 20 games. But yeah, back on his 3rd Ryze of the split here. The Jhin locked in for WildTurtle. He's going to be nice and far away. I'm curious, though, if Jhin can actually push through a front line like Tahm Kench Trundle. Of course, you got a Kindred and a Gangplank on his side to make sure that all works out, but still waiting to see what the FlyQuest tanks are going to be and what else is going to round out this composition.
Yeah, a lot of attack damage threat here. All physical damage so far from FlyQuest, so it's going to be up to Keane to balance that out. As you mentioned, JayJ primarily tank bottom lane, or tank supports, which should very well be the case here. They need some sort of crowd control to work with at the very least, if not some extra health.
Yeah, Zoe off, Ashe, Ezreal away, hoping to pinch down Zven's champion pool. Most of the utility champions are gone. No Varus as Ashe and no Jhin. He's going to play them a little bit closer up, a little bit less safe. And I wonder if FlyQuest can punish the bottom lane like they did in their previous game, even though they did not convert. One more ban towards Keane. TSM has 3 seconds to go. No, it's the Alistar off of JayJ, so he's down to Shen if he's playing commonly played tanks.
Yeah, Shen into Tahm Kench too.
Oh.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Pyke as well, but again, so much attack damage. This would be 4 AD threats for FlyQuest, so armor is going to have very high value for TSM because, of course, JayJ is also going to be looking for those executes. A couple of cloth armors is going to go a long way.
It absolutely will. It's going to be a really big deal. One thing I do like, though, is Pyke has a soft counter interaction against Tahm Kench. If his health bar is low enough, shields don't matter. The ult will execute, so it's going to require early shielding from Mithy without getting killed off. Zven's going to go over to Kaisa, though, and interestingly enough, it's more magic damage.
Yeah.
Not that TSM needed it as much.
Team magic versus team physical.
Basically, and of course, they've already got Ryze, and they lock in LeBlanc, so Ryze top lane is going to counterpick Gangplank, and as Kaisa comes through, Zven's probably going to still feel happy.
Yeah, of course, everybody starts the Storm Razor on Kaisa now, so is going to be that decent physical threat, plus Trundle will keep you honest, but interesting trends here. What is it going to be for Keane to try and balance this one out for FlyQuest? Or will they just go straight to...
What I expected with the Galio in there.
So again, we talk about they need some sort of at least crowd control, if not extra health, to work around with all this damage that they're packing. Galio will provide that in spades. So much zone control from this champion, and will be also able to cover a lot of the early moves. You know, FlyQuest are trying to scale up a little bit. so can try and play a little bit more defensively with the ultimates early on. Doesn't have to go, you know, with a dive or anything like that. Meanwhile, though, top lane Ryze, baby.
All right. That is exciting. Avenue champion to the pool for Hauntzer here. We'll see how it goes. Of course, you can auto-attack the barrels. That can often feel pretty good. Of course, yes, you can eat orange to get out of Rune Prison, but Gangplank versus Trundle can be hard as well. This will be an exciting one to watch for. TSM battling for the 5th seed. FlyQuest the same. Waiting for the loser of the next match up to see who your opponent's going to be if you win this one. And as the coaches shake hands, they may never meet again this year. But they're not going to be quarterfinal opponents, we know that. And maybe they meet in regionals, maybe they meet in semis or the finals, something else. It wouldn't be semis, but you know what I mean. The lineup's on your screen, and the battle is going to be fun. A Galio, the only true tank on the FlyQuest side. TSM get Bjergsen back onto an assassin. His LeBlanc is in. And a top lane Ryze alongside it. Going to be pretty fun to look at here. Let's see what these two squads have in store for us. I do enjoy that TSM are bringing us new stuff here today. We went for heavy split push. Didn't look so good. Now bringing out top lane Ryze. That looks fun. We go into the game.
Well, Ryze into Gangplank definitely is fun for the Ryze player. Definitely a very good matchup here for Hauntzer. And I expect to see Grig and or Bjergsen roaming up there early. You push out the wave, maybe you get a mid lane roam up there, but also some jungle control to try and punish this Gangplank. Really, really deny him early on, maybe dive him, and look to play that sort of game. Meanwhile, the bottom side, Zven and mithy probably just want to get their CS and build up their items.
All right, and they're just going to sit there, look at each other sternly. And that's all they're doing so far. JayJ sitting in a brush that pretty much every red side support ever sits in at the start of a game.
No sweepers either for the early game here.
That's true.
Aren't going to have any of the ward kills early on, trying to imbalance the experience rates for anyone. Might be a delayed move on the top side, though, as Santorin and Flame might catch Hauntzer in the pit.
Oh.
Nobody saw each other. They didn't even see him go in. So not going to get anything out there.
Yeah. He probably could have run away to the right, but that still could have been a little bit scary based on what could have happened there. So the stern looks end. An aggressive ward, I believe, saw Santorin walk towards his own red buff, so that part of it's known. FlyQuest will walk to lane early and receive a lane that has TSM leashing at this side of the map.
All right. Opposite red buff starts, but Grig will have a much quicker route here. Nobody helping Santorin. All by himself on that Kindred. They do have wards on both Scuttle Crabs, though, so you don't, you know, give up both Scuttle Crabs to the Trundle. As we said, that early control is going to be pretty big. Bottom side, though, JayJ actually takes a little bit of harass in the brush. Doesn't do too much to the ward.
Quick 112 damage on his Zven, but it's Doran's shield Kaisa. He'll sustain that back up without much of an issue. Level 2 will be first. A nice little bit of a stun there as they get some trades towards mithy.
Yep. Lands the skewer. Meanwhile, it is a top lane spawn on the Kindred mark for the Scuttle Crab, and that is easy for Grig to move over to as he started red buff on the Trundle. Happy to take that one off of the map. Santorin on Kindred does switch over to blue. He went red Raptors. He's going to need to get his mana regeneration going because he started with the machete, of course.
Again, a pretty heavy trade, but level 2's been joined for both sides. This time around, the mithy getting dropped quite a bit lower. Of course, JayJ able to trade fairly aggressively, getting his Aftershock shield now damaged on the Keane. He's going to hold W for a quick bit of extra durability, but losing some CS under that turret and taking quite a few auto attacks. Bjergsen managed to last hit a lot of minions here, and Keane missing a few more.
Yeah, Keane on the Galio is playing for the team. This is 100% that team pick. We talked about them needing so much more zone control to work with to balance out the rest of their champion picks, and he's just going to play the punching bag. It's interesting that Keane and Bjergsen have so much history together, though, as both those guys have actually played in the North American LCS for a very long time, and it has almost always been Bjergsen playing the assassins and Keane playing the weird picks into him. You know, the counter pick Urgot super famous into Bjergsen Zed that they were able to get the big win on. This time around, though, not playing for his own counter pick, playing for the team. And it is going to be so much more about how can he play with the rest of his squad. Meanwhile, off of last game, of course, WildTurtle's riding that momentum from the early game.
Sure, yeah, as long as he doesn't jump too far forward. Of course, TSM fans know that all too well. And unfortunately for Turtle, it's not always been a positive. But we'll see. Again, battle for 5th is going to be pretty nice.
But also always hasn't been a negative.
Yeah. Facts. It's been a mixed blessing, the fact that he's willing to go forward. I always appreciate it. It creates action. Sometimes very, very good. It was part of the reason FlyQuest won their laning phase in the previous. Just sadly was not enough, and we are still just trading farm in this game. Flame on the back foot against Ryze. You'd expect that with a counter pick, of course. Santorin actually walking by, and there's no ward spotting, and he's managed to get around all of this. And Hauntzer's low on mana as well.
Yeah, he just needs enough mana to be able to proc his speed boost if he wants to get out of this, though. Not very much in there.
I believe he can't EWQ all in the same mana pool, so...
It looks pretty small, yeah.
Yeah, only had 110 mana or so, and no, there's not going to be a gank coming through. I don't know if he saw him walk in the brush or not. Regardless, though, no gank to be had. There's a protection there for Santorin, and Hauntzer going to get that tier plus Sapphire Crystal and make his way back up. He's going to take the long way up, taking the walk. Yeah, top lane Ryze, 2 years old. How many reworks ago was 2016 summer? 7? How many reworks ago was 2016 summer? That's the joke.
I get it. Ryze joke.
Ah!
What player was it? Do you know?
I
know.
Really? I'm just going to guess Huni. Oh, Seraph. Wow.
Haven't heard that name in a while.
Speaking of Seraph, his Embrace is going to be in this game.
Hey!
Item
walked over award.
Yep. His own kind. Speaking of TSM memes. And here we go. Almost gets mithy, but he walks back away from that one as the grenade bounces around. And now it's time for the trade. Nice shot there. And now Santorin, yeah, he's fine. He pressed W. He's got the cooldown back.
Yeah, you can't fight the Trundle in the river there with both solo lanes for TSM having the easier rotation over. You can see Bjergsen constantly pushing in this wave, so he could roam first, and it is very scary, a level 6 LeBlanc. As a jungler, when the mid laners hit level 6, it's one of the scariest periods in your life because they get access to a huge amount of burst, usually, with the champion profiles that we see there, and you definitely don't want to have a mismatched little skirmish in the river early on. Easily able to jump out, though.
Well, speaking of mismatches, though, look at this gold difference. 1,000 almost in just the laning phase. You're seeing +9 in the top side, +9 in the jungle, 13 in mid. It's only the bot lane holding equal. And that's actually a pretty big deal. TSM kind of able to play that slow grind where you just never do anything against them. They're up a bunch of gold, and then team fights start, and it still goes well. Now, TSM maybe a bit less of a team fight composition. Again, there's a Galio against them, and they're running a LeBlanc, but I trust them to play a pretty heavy split push game. Bjergsen's on the Ignite. He's ready to go.
Yeah, and you have to be careful about how long you let the slow grind, continue. Because, of course, FlyQuest do have a lot of options if you let the game go super late. But as of right now, happy to get those farm leads. And see if we have any sort of transition here. Because the river on top side, heavily warded by TSM. They've got a lot of vision protecting Hauntzer on the top side now. In this matchup to try and make use of this Ryze, pushing on Flame, trying to harass him under turret. And quickly clears out those minions. Grig's bottom though, and he's showing.
3 versus 2. Right as FlyQuest goes forward, they're going to find a stun, but a flash out from Trundle to get away from the pillar. Takes even more damage out of the Kaisa. Nice little gank. It's a flash out.
Yeah, I like JayJ's little stun there as well. Plays on the front side. Santorin, though.
6 versus 6. Grig can take some damage. Of course, Jhin can join in range pretty soon. JayJ going to come in for a stun on a 1 and looking for more damage across. They're going to burn him down. First blood grab. They're not even done. Mithy, he's going to flash away.
And from one TSM jungler to another, Santorin gets the first blood. Says enjoy the flame.
He's up in the top lane right now. We'll see him later in this, but oof, Keane. All right, still holding down on this one. Had the chance to hold, didn't need to, but FlyQuest don't even tie the goal with that kill. They're still behind.
Opening up the map here, though. Kindred mark spawned on the Raptors for Santorin, so in addition to his kill onto Grig, he also gets an extra mark afterwards, and that is going to be very, very good. One more for himself to get to the extra range. Zven does stop the back of JayJ.
Good guy, JayJ. That's the second time I've seen him on screen and make sure that Turtle gets the recalls off.
Yeah, allow Turtle to get his BF sword. Here we go. There is another look at the bottom lane gank. JayJ tried to play in the front line there because he's got the extra mobility with the Pyke. Gets the double stun, allowing Turtle to get out after his flash. And then Santorin knows that the pillar is down for Grig. And that's basically all Trundle has in this matchup. If you don't have the pillar, there is zero threat. Plus, JJ's the first one up the river, so they absolutely pinch him and take advantage of the routing kind of carelessly after your gank afterwards. You know, you show yourself bottom lane,
sure,
and they make the predictable route right up the middle. Santorin, really nice presence of mind there to jump on him and force the play, getting this first blood money for FlyQuest. Funnily enough, as you mentioned, with all the CS difference, FlyQuest, even with the first blood, still down in gold.
Yeah, it's quite a lot to differentiate right here. So 300 gold apart. Bjergsen up 30 CS. Blue buff feels good.
Insane lead here in the mid lane for Bjergsen after pulling the Swapperoo, their early Ryze pick, given up to Hauntzer, and allowing Bjergsen to get this assassin instead. And see what they do with it, because he's got a lot of CS to go purchase with. But then you really do need to roam around and start getting those kills with LeBlanc, because you don't want it to get to late in the game. Again, if you're facing a late game farmed Gangplank, Kindred, and a Galio protecting all these guys, it becomes difficult to do the 5-on-5. He'd much rather just get one item LeBlanc, start killing anybody he finds in rotation.
And again, damage coming out for Bjergsen though. Keane just having to grin and bear it. Again, pick for the lane, not for the lane, but for the team composition, and just getting pushed around that top lane matchup. Plus 16 as well on the TSM side. And now again, oh! What a flash for Bjergsen to secure the kill on the Keane. He's gonna flash away, but ignite, and the ult from Trundle will secure the kill.
Grig's able to get that blue buff for himself, so now he's matching with Bjergsen as they push in on the turret. But once again, the whole play there was the flash from Bjergsen. He sees the Justice Punch coming out, wants to end it early, so flashes right on to Keane, allowing them the extra distance here to finish it off. Let's take another look, because Keane comes up. Grig was recalling too. They had almost given up on this play, but he gets the chain. He flashes in, you know, as soon as you get champion model interaction there with Galio, it will stop the Justice Punch, it'll get the knock-up, and that is enough to finish him off. Keane also flashed afterwards, thinking that he could live even with the burn on him. So he's going to be down the flash in the mid lane in addition to all this money, and the kills starting to come through.
And it's going to be a quick pickup though, at least on this Drake, so something to going back towards FlyQuest's way. They are still down about 700 gold, but a Mountain Drake might turn that around at some point in the future. Santorin's first item's completed, but Grig has more. First Blood will do that for you, obviously. Bot lane still pretty close to equal. Small lead for Turtle. And again, Bjergsen looking to put the screws to Keane. Able to trade back at least a little bit, but as Aftershock times out, another pillar slows him up. This time, though, he's out of range.
Yeah, no extra damage given this time around. Meanwhile, actually, look at the mini-map, because JayJ just went over the wall to get behind Mithy and Zven. They scouted him out and saw on a ward now, though, and it won't be any big plays coming through. You can tell, though, Turtle and JayJ, with the success early on in the lane phase last game, they are still looking to play aggressively. They have a lot of CC at their disposal and trying to get some sort of pick here on the TSM bottom lane that has not had a good run of it.
And right now, Turtle's very low on mana, so going for a fight here on the FlyQuest side might not do too much. And in fact, Bjergsen's even walking down, but he's walking by across the ward, so they know there's no fight to be had. He's going to turn back around, no threat here. We'll see the recall probably come before too terribly long as they scale up. It's been a while since either bot laner has bought anything. Again, looking at top, and it's a solid 26. This is this slow burn kind of still working well, and I know you have to caution against being too passive. But for the most part, TSM have been the better team in this game.
Santorin slips right into the back of the Rift pit as well. He's objective focused in this game. You know, picked up the, I actually might just find him.
His Q's on cooldown, he's in danger. He's going to find Bjergsen, pops the ult very early on, and now comes Galio. A little bit of damage towards Bjergsen, down to about 500. Turtle is in, can he get the kill? Not just quite, as mithy saves him up, and it's going to be the re-engage. JayJ gets the kill onto Hauntzer, ult still available. Turtle is out, but here comes the push with Zven. Gets over the wall, he's going to stay safe. 1-0 FlyQuest, but the fight is not done. Flame's got to be a bit careful, as Grig's going to be found out for a stun, but also saved by mithy.
Oh yeah, Grig a little bit too risky over there. WildTurtle still getting some damage done as well. Even though a couple of recalls are channeling for FlyQuest, I think they want this WildTurtle to reset. TSM finishing it!
They've got the Jhin ult. Smite goes over, but the pull in on Grig. TSM just too healthy though. They get the Herald to get out.
Let's see if they can actually get a turret with it, though. They did put a stop to that objective and take it for themselves. Bjergsen, huge burst potential. You can see how early Santorin had to ult because of the potential one-shot from this LeBlanc.
Threatening player. This kill at least, though, got FlyQuest tied up in gold, so I guess we have to stop talking about TSM's slow bleed working well because we are at a tied game. Farm leads or not, they've been fighting pretty well. When we look back at this bottom lane as Hauntzer has now moved himself around to this side of the map. Looks like they might be using Herald to knock something down quickly and put a point of power elsewhere. The recall from the dual lane has showed up, and looking at Kaisa in the minimap is going topside. Probably to cash in on the turret damage done earlier by Ryze, and as long as Grig comes around, that could be first turret for them. A wave lost to the turret in bot lane as Scuttle should go to Santorin. Wow, the flash forward though, is it the damage? Not quite. Hauntzer is now down his flash.
Ooh, yeah. That was a super aggro move here. Not able to burst down Santorin. Still had about 300 life left on him as well, with JayJ there trying to protect him and dissuade the chase. Now it's just going to be a flashless Ryze. Let's see if he gets punished for it later.
Could be the case, yeah. 4 minutes to go until that's going to come back. That could absolutely be scary. A little bit less because he has those upgraded cooldown boots. 4.5 is the basic. As Turtle gets rid of the wave, no one is yet joining Zven in this top lane. He's 1v2, but dodges away from that. Where is Grig? He's got the Herald. And that first turret gold just waiting to be grabbed at some point on the map. Mid lane down about 15%, but top lane at half would die to almost just the charge. Mithy heading up, Grig heading up, and with the ult, this might just be the heavy play right here. Bit of wave not going to mean much. Bjergsen comes in, almost kills off Turtle. This could be enough, and it is! A great pickup as the bot laner's dead.
And Bjergsen plays the champion to perfection there. Just pops out with the LeBlanc. He's already got the Luden's Echo, so it's pretty easy. Burst down the AD carry. They pop the Rift Herald afterwards, so bonus objective. And now they want to keep it pushing, actually. Moving up here, Zven and Mithy will abort mission. Leave old Rifty to die.
But solo first turret gold went to Zven. 600 or so gold. Richard's going to feel great as he gets to keep spiking up. Storm Race is already done for Turtle. At least that item's matched, but Zven going to start getting and pulling ahead. 700 gold individually is his lead. TSM up 1,500.
Surprise, we said Bjergsen just wants to get to one item and then roam around killing people. Boom, there you go. Free ticket from Mithy on the Tahm Kench as well. Right into his face. Finishes it off with JayJ standing there. Nothing he can do about it. And that earned them the first turret bonus gold. Now let's see if they can actually get this split push active, because this is what they wanted in the setup earlier today. This time around, they've actually got the territory to work with. Zven actually goes 1v1.
Goes for the play. A lot of damage on Turtle. Just shuts him down.
Easily actually able to pick that one up. Makes it look effortless. Now on the bottom side, though, FlyQuest want to answer 2v1 diving Hauntzer.
But it's going to be 2v2. Mithy's pretty close, and Ryze just gets him right back out. No hearts easy to stop it. Santorin's got to run. He took a turret shot. 200 health on him. Flame's only at 400, getting slowed again. Auto into W. Waiting for the oranges. Grabs them. And here comes his spit out. Galio showing as well. Flame will stay alive. Santorin the same. A knockup of Mithy. But will the re-engage come in time? Can't quite find the knockup of Bjergsen cutting away. Looking for the next shot to come through. Santorin very, very low. A flash in. And the ult for JayJ picks up one. Looks for another on to Bjergsen. He's got to be careful though. Plenty of damage comes out for Hauntzer as well. FlyQuest get that kill.
And actually, they don't even have Zven pushing onto the turret. He stops at that wave. Triggers the recall here. So FlyQuest happy to actually collapse. They did use a little bit of extra resources, but those are well used around this dragon. Grig doesn't want to give it to him.
Grig has smite, Grig has flash, and he has the chance at fighting as the health bars are low on FlyQuest. Bjergsen coming around, that will be a disengage, and it's going to be a reset. Drake partially. 4,000 health, Grig and Bjergsen getting to fight it. No one's going to stop them.
All
and
right.
TSM will get this Cloud Drake.
And they're handed the leash here. Thank you very much. Yeah. Cloud Drake picked up a little bit of extra move speed. So much of this is going to be about where is Bjergsen and who he's going to take off. But Zven said, hey, I can solo kill people too.
I mean, Turtle burned all his cooldowns and his fourth shot. There is literally no fighting back to be had.
And look at the mini-map. All those control wards surrounding the top lane. Zven just kind of walked up there. Here we go, though. Once again, bottom side. This is how it happened with the overextension from Flame and Santorin. It's turned around very quickly. They get a Galio ultimate in. Kindred pops the ultimate here for Santorin to delay time for Keane actually to arrive. He flashes in for the taunt onto Bjergsen to protect his members.
Ooh, and Hauntzer got close to killing off Flame. That's where the replay stopped here. But Hauntzer out of mana right now, has to respect some of this. And backs out, but yeah, Flame without health maybe even worse. Santorin actually waiting in the wings. Will they find themselves the play? Looking for a barrel. He baits him off. That gets a slow. Now the Roamore coming across. They don't quite have the burst, and yet again, Hauntzer gets away.
They don't have any CC here to interrupt Hauntzer. Still gets out with the realm up. No mana left. Just pops the Seraph. That is enough to make him live. And we'll see. Grig is actually just going to be able to take the minions at the turret then. Allow Zven and mithy on the top side to continue to push in, farm up. He's almost done with the Rage Blade. Pretty soon here. Level 11 as well for Kaisa. So Zven farming up quite nicely.
Now looking at Santorin as Hauntzer showing in as well, but a teleport's coming through, so now Flame might cut this off. Ult's in, another teleport joining. Big burst towards Santorin, has a flash away. Grig's still in the chase, lands the Q. Couple more shots, and they're going to get that kill as that one falls in a second. 2-0 TSM.
This time it's TSM with 5 members on the bottom side. They use Tahm Kench ultimate to chase as well. Grig
Pillar soon.
Finds him.
Perfectly placed, and of course Keane can't traverse terrain with that E. He's got to keep walking, but he's picked up by mithy, spits him back out in the brush. Where can he even go? Finds some damage. He's close on Grig, actually. That's a very low health bar, but it's not going to be enough damage. Zven gets the snipe.
And they hand it over to the Kaisa as well. That's definitely going to be Rage Blade completed now. Working on the turret. Teleport goes in mid lane to try and stop the LeBlanc, but TSM starting to run away with this game.
They really are. A 3,000 gold lead solidly with power spikes coming through. Scuttle picked up as well. Baron's on the map if they need it. TSM in the driver's seat here, but could be re-engaged towards Bjergsen. Rooted up, knocked around. He's trying to jump away. The ult's not going to land, so how about Jhin?
Nope. He hit the clone! The clone block from Bjergsen! Oof. Able to take the bullet. Really, really great reactions there. Clone MVP.
Yeah. See, people have always asked, what if TSM had 2 Bjergsens? Turns out it works really well.
Fair enough. Bjergsen does not get his first death of the game, despite the best efforts of FlyQuest. That was a really well placed pick from FlyQuest, jumping on the recall, able to get the Bone Skewer, but a better reaction. All right, so they wait long enough for him to come around. Immediate root from Turtle to allow JayJ to get the Bone Skewer, but then Bjergsen...
It's not even on purpose, I don't think. It just is there.
So he ran in a straight line to get out of the range of the ultimate, so that makes me think that he was like, oh yeah, my ult's got this one, easy. So there was no panic, no attempt at dodging, right?
Fair.
Make a straight line for the safe zone.
Yeah. I was expecting the clone to juke upwards though instead of running straight. If he's controlling it on purpose, I think he would have walked into Turtle. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Either way, it worked.
We'll get an interview for you afterwards.
Yeah. Did you block that on purpose? Bjergsen would be like, of course.
Yeah.
He'll just take credit. That's what I do. When someone laughs at a joke, I'm like, of course I meant for that to be funny. Meanwhile, Flame means to get Hauntzer out of his lane, lands a barrel chain, and walks back out.
As well, a lot of control wards starting to go down for TSM. They know with this lead, if FlyQuest comes to face check around Baron, then they'll be in big trouble. So they start to move into the red quadrant here and make that a reality.
All right, ward control. TSM side getting rid of all these, keeping their own control wards up. That one heals back. Zven's going to take Krugs out. And now FlyQuest here to re-engage for some of their map. Going to get a pull onto mithy, but a pillar almost knocks out JayJ. Kaisa shows up. He's almost dead, but stays alive. And now the engage comes across, but a quick save towards Trundle spits him back out. Flame's fight is down. Bjergsen around this fight. JayJ getting away. Galio to reset the fight, but it's FlyQuest just running out of their own territory.
Yep, and they have low health bars even after the Kindred ultimate is forced out, so they can't recuperate after this one. Bjergsen goes back to mid lane to push them all. Zven actually taking down Keane.
Big pillar on a Keane, down to 500 health. They can almost get the damage. He's got to flash away. And again, FlyQuest pushed out of their jungle.
Yep, and pushed off the map. That gives TSM free reign over the turrets. They're going to get bottom side. They're going to push on top side. Even mid lane is going to take some damage while they're at it.
And that's turret going down 3-0 in turrets. A 5,000 gold lead. It's going to be 4 pretty soon as mid lane's under fire. Look at the damage on Turtle. He'll survive through the ignite.
Yeah, good dodge there with the extra speed and just barely enough to live.
55 or so. I was right. He's fine. But no teleport available. Thanks. Kobe patted me on the back, said, good job. You know how much damage ignite deals. I've been hit with enough LeBlancs to know. But Grig taking Scuttle control constantly. This Baron is under TSM's control for the most part. FlyQuest have to find some way back in, or they're going to fall to 6th place.
Yeah, and that means they'll probably have pretty difficult matchup here, as the winner's tiebreaker will come up next.
Yep.
Again, though, still have a chance. Possibility of making a big team play. They have Gangplank, Trinity Force, Spirit Visage completed. So again, magic resist heavy Gangplank. We've seen this so often against this team. Once again, it makes sense though with the solo lane APs. And it just takes one, you know, running into a big barrel chain, having that crit on your carries. Galio ultimate coming through. There are possibilities for FlyQuest in games like this, tiebreakers where you're trying to get seeding for playoffs, the big moments. This is where you need to have that poise in game. This is exactly what JayJ was asking for. He said he was excited for some stage play and higher pressure situations.
Yeah.
Now is when that occurs. Can he get a pick on Pyke? Can he set his team up? Gonna have to see if this one occurs versus TSM, one of the oldest standing organizations with the richest history.
And it's interesting you talk about these high pressure games on stage. It feels like when JayJ's on his comfortable champions, he looks a lot better, right? In the previous game, it was, I think, his first Alistair game with a split, and it did not look very pretty. Had a pretty bad scoreline here, and even though he hasn't played a bunch of Pyke on the LCS stage, he was one of the first ones to adopt the champion. When we talked to him during Collegiate before the split started, the thought was that he was the best Pyke in Academy. That this was a champion he knew how to play really, really well. Guess never got to bring it out until now, but it's a really good game. He's the kill leader on his team with a perfect KDA. And this is what happens, right, when you're sort of new to the stage. I think you want to play things you're comfortable at, and clearly that level of play is quite high when he is on something and he's mained a bit more. But of course, the rest of FlyQuest needs to do well. More damage onto Flame. He hits some barrels and goes for damage on Hauntzer, but pops the shield. And look at the extra damage done. Flame just cannot get in on that fight.
Yeah, neither can JayJ. Pillar goes up from Grig, so there's going to be no pick there. And meanwhile, TSM taking some more damage on this turret. That'll be another objective and some more bonus gold.
5,500, 4-0 in turrets. FlyQuest have very little on the scoreboard here as Hauntzer is pushing in aggressively at the tier 2 turret. Even kills the barrel in Flame's face. Is not to be stopped. Doesn't even get the cannon last hit either. Only gets a little bit of CS here, but Hauntzer really having his way with this matchup.
Yeah, and he's got an early Void Staff as well because of the Gangplank magic resist stacking and the possibility of the rest of the members also building so much magic resist. Early Void Staff actually has a lot of value. In itself, it wasn't changed when last Whisper was changed, so the magic resist penetration kind of route still kind of remains the same there, and it's definitely going to have a lot of value. Almost every member on TSM or on FlyQuest has at least one no magic mantle in their build aside from JayJ. Yeah,
it's definitely a good thing. And even Pyke has an unnaturally high magic resist. So in all these cases, Void Staff is a very good choice based on composition and items. And it's now the first little attempt at Baron. Right now it's going to be called off as TSM do back away. But 3 items Pyke for Kaisa means her single target damage is very, very good. Rageblade and Hurricane both being done. Good at objective clearing. 5,500 remains that lead. 2 Cloud Drakes means they can get around pretty nicely.
Level 16 Bjergsen now, 2 highest level in the game on the LeBlanc, ready to burst down the backline. We've seen it over and over again on the Turtle, and that's what prompted that no magic mantle buy. Might not still be enough though, as now it looks like he might be heading towards a Void Staff of his own.
It's going to be this red buff, undisturbed. Turtle will grab something else for himself, and FlyQuest able to not lose too much on this map.
JayJ's looking.
And he's going to find some damage on his Zven. Lands the first Q, but not the stun. No, he flashes the credit. He's got to find that. The ulti not quite going to land. Is done. Flashes away. Can he get away? No, he cannot. The shot to the top. Good hit for WildTurtle.
And they find one. We asked the question, will JayJ find a pick to try and get his team back into it? He does on the top side. This guy is looking for more in the river, clearing out the vision with Santorin around Baron. And FlyQuest, as we said, they still have options. They're desperately trying here to fend off TSM. And they have a Galio ultimate in their pocket if someone does get picked.
And they're going to try to maybe push for this right away. Of course, with teleport available for Zven, 20 seconds is all he needs to be in the fight. So instead they say, okay, turret's the objective. We're not risking Baron just yet. A bit too hard for this. Is TSM able to get their own wards in this Baron pit to know that they're not under any threat. And actually, Turtle backs off of that top outer, so they will not get any objectives off that kill. 4 kills for FlyQuest, all they converted towards is a single Mountain Drake, which does not mean anything when you're losing. Unable to convert, FlyQuest down in gold.
They don't have priority in any other lane. They can't push anywhere on the map. Flame constantly hugging his turret, taking spells here from Hauntzer left and right. Bjergsen has dominated the mid lane for the entire game, has been his domain, and no one from FlyQuest can answer. Here we go though. Flame actually under more threat than just him.
Thankfully for him, though, Turtle's around, but it's not enough to keep that turret alive. Bjergsen throws a couple attacks their way, and it's 5-0 in turrets.
Scuttle grab as well. Around Baron picked up here already for TSM that continue to clear out the wards and dwindle the vision of FlyQuest. Map's starting to go dark for them. They really need to get their defensive wards up so they can try and make that big play. You know, if one member does get caught out, if you trigger the Galio ultimate, you try and have everyone collapse and hope that you can outplay on your terms.
Hoping they can find it, but first it's Grig with the pillar, getting Santorin pushed off as JayJ fights over the wards. For the next few seconds, both teams do share vision of this pit, but it still feels like TSM are the ones who can push their weight around. The farm lead for Hauntzer over Flame has been growing over time. It's plus 60 now for the Ryze. JayJ in darkness, but he's going to be spotted out by mithy. Has to kite back. Santorin's there. A nice jump over the wall. The Bone Skewer does some nice things. mithy at over 1,000 still safe for here, but they're going to go for the engage, actually. Look for the Q. They're going to pull him in. Bjergsen gets right back out, but it's taking some damage for this one.
Yeah, he dodges one bullet. There goes the Gangplank ultimate down, though.
Keep in mind, mithy is close to being killable by Pyke. He actually goes to Spellbook, so to keep himself alive, and a solo kill. Bjergsen found out Santorin. He's trying to run away, though. Does Turtle guess right? One more shot. Can he get in range? And he cannot. He can't get him. The turnaround. Finally, the kill comes through. But look in the backside of this fight because they're in a bad spot here. The shots come through. The Gromp helps. Even the jungle is on TSM's side. A fight won 4 kills to 1.
4 members of FlyQuest traded for Bjergsen alone, and that is going to be TSM moving over to the Baron afterwards. Nothing Flame can do about it. No teleport, no ultimate, and that will be TSM pushing with the purple buff.
And it's all but secured. That 5th seed now, a 9,000 gold lead, a 4-person recall, and the map to play for TSM as they can cash in and look to start taking down this base. Flame alone on the map, waiting for his team to spawn. Hauntzer takes the blue. Everything's TSM's.
What play here from Hauntzer throughout this game. Complete control as well. Here's another look at the chase, though. Bjergsen went into the Gangplank ultimate and blew up Santorin before he could even Kindred ultimate. Then Turtle chases him. He cuts off his escape route with the W, knowing that Bjergsen's only option would be to take his distortion back to Turtle. Then he finds the auto, but doesn't matter. Enough TSM members had collapsed that they finish off that kill as well. But man, Bjergsen gets the solo kill onto Santorin, who didn't either expect that full amount of burst damage or didn't have the reaction time to pull off the ult.
Maybe the both of them, either way. To the earlier point about Bjergsen, though, and his ability to use the clone, didn't move the clone to block the W, so I think I'm the one who's right about this one.
Yeah, maybe you are.
Yeah.
We'll have investigator Avali figure it out afterwards.
Absolutely.
And hook him up to a lie detector as well.
Yeah. Bjergsen, have you blocked Jhin ults on purpose every time this game? Okay, apparently no.
Well, I don't think we're going to have a shock added to it. I think it's just going to be a lie detector. No
Extreme sports. Phreak. Extreme lie detector.
I think we're going to have to keep Phreak away from the players for a little while.
That's probably a good choice.
Meanwhile, TSM pushing with the Baron buff. Trying to get inside the inhibitor turrets. That's always the toughest stage of the game. 10,000 gold lead, though, and plenty of Drakes to move it with, in addition to the extra pushing power afforded to them.
Little shot there towards Bjergsen, but the turrets are starting to fall. All 6 tier 1 and tier 2 turrets are gone. It's only the inhibitor line left with a minute and a half left on Baron. FlyQuest just sitting inside their base now, and I'm not sure what their engage is going to be. The only one who can run that far forward is JayJ's Pyke to deliver a Galio, and even then, it's telegraphed enough that I feel like TSM can get away from it.
Turret's melting. That one's almost done on bottom side. One more auto, and it is.
And now onto mid as well. Big chunks coming through from Bjergsen, and even Hauntzer on top of that one. A big burst coming through JayJ at half. Another turret falls to the mid side as they look for the inhibitor in the bot lane to fall. That one's not defended. And FlyQuest continue to cede control to give up more and more ground. They can play for their Nexus turrets. that might just be it. TSM split pushing going very well here in this game.
Yeah, they've only got one inhibitor to work with. Actually, Bone Skewer lands, but I don't even know if they want that fight.
Now, they don't want any single fight. It's going to be only their own Nexus that they're going to be fighting for here. Summoner Ghost popped, looking for a play maybe, as they look for the front line. Keane's running a bit low. He's going to get Lamb's Respite, but I don't think they have the health bars or the damage to win this as FlyQuest side. Bjergsen wants forward, gets the one kill as Hauntzer, and now only 4 alive. They're onto the base. They're killing the turrets off already. The Nexus exposed, and FlyQuest is likely to fall to 6th. TSM grabbed this win. They'll take the 5th seed. Slowly but surely, they got it.
Couple extra kills there. Quite a bit.
And they know already they've lost to 2 of the other 3 quarterfinal teams they may face. They know it won't be TSM. They know it might be 100 Thieves, though. And that could have been a sampler of their quarterfinal best of 5. But a win is a win. Great job, TSM. Let's send it down to Avli standing by with TSM's bot laner.
Thanks, guys. Zven, congratulations on that win and securing that 5th seed. And you guys pulled it off after a loss earlier in the day. So how are you guys able to mentally reset and pull off today's victory?
I mean, I just told my team that maybe if I play a little bit, like, if I int a little less, then we'll win next game. So that happened this game.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't want to int anymore. I mean, what other changes are you trying to put on coming into playoffs?
I mean, I think we've been doing a lot of things well these last few weeks that weren't as good before. We had problems with committing for the play, even if it was a bad play, and we had problems with our early game planning wasn't very good. I think our drafts also got a lot better recently, so that's the main 3 things we've been working on so far.
And you guys are going to take on the loser of Echo Fox versus 100 Thieves, which is our next match. Who do you think you guys are going to be playing against next weekend?
To be honest, I don't really care. Like, I think that the 4 from 3 to 6 place are like really close in terms of like how good they are. So I don't think it matters who we play against. I think we're all equally skilled, so I don't really care or mind who we play against. But I think it looked like Fox was playing better than 1T's was playing, even though 1T's won the game.
Well, Zven, thank you and congratulations again. And for more on the game, let's hear from the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. The 5th and 6th seeds are decided. TSM snagging number 5, FlyQuest falling to 6th. For TSM, I think this was a very solid rebound from the loss they sustained earlier today. Yeah. I had asked the question, which position would you prefer to be in from a losing team? Jat, you had said TSM, and it looked like they were able to shrug off that earlier loss quite easily.
Yeah, all it takes is just Zven inting less.
We heard it from him, right?
It's funny because I actually think that's pretty true. Like, when they do well, or excuse me, when they do poorly, it's usually because Zven has one of those uncharacteristically bad games where he got picked off a couple times. I mean, that's basically the story of the Clutch series, where he had his worst series ever, maybe, and then they're knocked out. Had a good comeback game this time around.
Yeah, I also think it's a difference of having Bjerg. I mean, he's looked amazing on Assassins.
The last couple weeks, man, he's looked fantastic.
I'm feeling like that might be the direction TSM should be moving towards for the playoffs.
I mean, which is baffling, because this is a guy he's the most MVP titles in all of North America, has always been hailed as top or second to maybe Jensen at times in the mid lane. And so often we see him forced down onto picks with no agency. So finally returning to a style of play that lets him control the game and make plays.
I think it's something I hope to see more of in the playoffs, because to the point where it's sometimes like TSM doesn't have enough playmakers. We see a 20-minute Nocturne game, no ults. Top lane pressures a little bit. Bot lane mostly focuses on going even. Having Bjergsen on the champion that can only play aggressive means now he has to play aggressive.
And on this LeBlanc, he destroyed his lane opponent.
Yeah.
He absolutely destroyed Keane in the mid lane, rather, building a massive CS lead, as well as getting an early kill with the help of Grig, yes, sort of.
Mostly set up by him, though.
So keep in mind, he's already up about 40 CS before this happens. Flashes in front of the E from the Galio, and then the Ignite and the Trundle ult just finish him off. Plus 34 at 10, plus 43 at 15, plus 60 after that.
Oh, my goodness.
There's a bit of a story with Keane's Galio as well,
that
getting
happens
blown
too.
up. There's a lot of bad Keane Galio games, but I think Keane played the team fights and did some stuff well with some nice flash taunts to stop Bjergsen from popping off a couple of times. But if you're doing that to offset a 40 CS deficit, you're already playing on your back foot.
But that's the kind of lane phase that for so long we had come to expect from Bjergsen. And I don't feel like that expectation has really existed this entire year for him. Maybe it will now going into playoffs. The other player I want to talk about, though, is Hauntzer in the top lane. We've always talked about the importance of the solo laners on TSM in establishing kind of their own leads. And in this game, we finally saw the appearance of the Ryze being sent to the top lane, which has happened around the world, first time here in NA.
It's something that a lot of times people just see as a power pick in the mid lane as well, but across the world, they're more willing to flex it up into the top lane, and it doesn't have that many bad matchups, a little susceptible to ganks, but if someone takes melees or tanks into it, the Ryze can actually bully super hard, and that did work out a little bit for Hauntzer establishing a CS lead.
It's actually 0-2 in Europe and 4-5 in Korea, so it's not a dominant pick, but I do think it's another one of those things that could favor Hauntzer. Again, whenever TSM can put themselves in situations where they can be lane dominant, Hauntzer and Bjergsen are guys who consistently have been in the top of the top lane first team and the mid lane first team. So that is how they succeed. And if there is like a prototypical TSM draft, like Zven on a hyperscaler, because Zven and mithy do not dominate lanes.
Nope.
So put your other guys as your dominant laners. If they want to shut down the hyperscaler down bottom, great. You have ways of creating pressure on the map.
Right.
It's very frustrating watching
It's
TSM
only
this year.
taken 2 splits to figure that out.
I was going to say, it's
Jack.
frustrating to watch them come to the realization almost here in the tiebreaker week, but at least they are coming to it now. You know, similar to their game 1 composition where they had tools to make plays into side lanes, close gaps, or have the semi-globals. Although they didn't go into an even mid-game in game 1, they have very similar tools here in game 2. They go in with either a lead or an even state, and we see them execute on those kind of abilities a bit better.
Yeah, well, especially when they're self-made leads, like we're saying. You know, the Ryze that Bjergsen had in game 1 and stuff like that, like it's a little slower pace where you're coordinating with your jungler and the Nocturne. That doesn't always work out, but at this point in the game, they've already built such big leads for themselves that they can kind of take these fights and go super aggressive.
Right. And watch Bjergsen in this fight. So very shifty, doesn't really look like he's doing much, and then kind of out of the blue, I believe he one-shots the Kindred. Just need to track this right here. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Goes.
Okay, he's dead.
Yeah, and then that pulls Turtle up here, which eventually gives Zven time to get the chase down on JayJ. It's kind of what Assassins want to do, like blow up a target and then pull the enemy team apart when they try and punish you. And though Turtle does get the punish, like look at the position he's in now, trying to get out of here. And it allows them to find the cleanup kills. They get the 4-for-1, and then they get the Baron buff on the back end of that.
Absolutely. So good pickup for TSM here. Moving into playoffs in that 5th seed, FlyQuest in 6th. As we mentioned, they're waiting on the results of the next game to figure out who their opponents will be in the quarterfinals.
And I think before the day, we were wondering what the difference between 3rd and 4th seed would really be. Because obviously 3 plays 6th and 4 plays 5, but if you're 3, it means you're playing Cloud9 in the semifinals if you move on, and if you're below that, it depends on dynamic seeding. Now I do feel like, as FlyQuest, the least experienced team in the playoffs, the 6th seed, didn't necessarily end the split on a tear, was 0-2 on tiebreaker game. You really, I think, want to play them in the first round, which means you really want the 3 seed. And that's awarded to the winner of 100 Thieves Fox. So I think we're going to see a real try-hard game coming up.
Ahead of that 100 Thieves Fox games, what are your guys' thoughts? Obviously, Echo Fox looked pretty good on the upswing with a 25-minute win over the TSM that we just saw take down FlyQuest.
We didn't run the predictions as a part of a segment, but I said Fox and he said 100 Thieves. So we are split.
And there's a possibility then of a tie if Jat gets it correct and Mark gets it wrong.
And you know what the all-time record of 100 Thieves versus Echo Fox is, Mark?
Heavily in 100 Thieves' favor.
4-1. I'm feeling pretty good.
Heavily in 100 Thieves'
If there's
favor.
a game that I'm going to tie you up with, we need to figure out a tiebreaker.
We'll figure it out.
A Akali 1v1. I keep challenging you to an Akali 1v1, and you never want to do it, dude.
Not an Akali. I'll race you in.
Oh, it was a foot race.
You know what? Perfect. No, not a foot race.
I'll do a
It's a foot race. I like it. All right, 3rd and 4th seed decider up next. 100 Thieves taking on Xbox in our last tiebreaker of the split. That's right after.